Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Don't Tell Me How to Fan. My name is Josh Albrecht. With me as always is my pal John Taylor. John, woo! Big win against the Texans. Packers are now 5-2. They win at home in a game that was stressful.
Yeah, not my most favorite offensive game I've seen from the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Some gentle foreshadowing with that response.
Yes. I mean, and on the flip side, obviously, the defense holding it together, but we're not going to, people are going to say, yes, the defense did great, but it's going to be all about that kick. We, at the end of last episode 10, by the way, if you missed that, you can see it down below and continue watching other videos. It's there on your YouTube.
Wait, hold on a second, Josh.
Yes.
You could catch episode 10 in two other places now, can't you?
Oh, what a great point, John. Yes, you can. We totally didn't have this planned.
Yeah.
You can now also podcast the episodes. For people that are like, I love listening to you guys, but you're ugly as shit. Yes, Now you can just listen to us via Apple and Spotify podcast.
And please stop tweeting me that too. I get it. All right.
Yeah.
Now you can just listen and leave us alone. Please.
Damn.
Please.
Unnecessary.
That's right.
Yes. So, ta-da, we have those there too. The links are available. I mean, first of all, you can just search for it like a normal person would, and you'll see it. It has like the logos that you see above. Otherwise, we'll put it in our Twitter at Sports and DYM.
Not done yet media.
That's right. And but in episode 10, we both predicted, getting right to the predictions here, John.
Got to do it.
Packers were going to lose. Didn't love it. Didn't love that was our predictions, but that was our predictions.
Not happy about it.
I had Packers were going to lose 31-28. You had Packers were going to lose 34-31. The similarities between the two were that we said it was all going to come down to Narvison missing a kick. Well, someone at 1265 Lombardi Avenue said, I was just listening to this podcast. I think we need to get rid of this kicker.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gone.
They
bring in McManus, and he does the job. He goes there, 45-yard field goal, nails it, gets frozen, has to go back out there, does it again.
Second one, not as pretty. I will say on the review, this Orzik sent that a little low. So a hell of a job by Whelan. Hats off to him. I mean, not only did he have an absolutely dominating game punting, but to get a hold of that snap, good on him for sure. So, I mean, that's what you bring in a vet like that for, he's nails. He's got a 90% hit rate inside of 50. So
it's what you need.
That's what you need.
Now, I got to be honest, too. As I'm watching this game, at the end, I'm like, there was one throw. It was like third and 10, third and 12. I don't know. For the Texans. And Stroud, he runs out, throws this amazing pass for a first down, like right after the 2-minute warning, or like right before it, maybe. I was like, that's it. They have the first down. They're well within range.
Yeah.
They're going to run down the clock. They're going to get one more first down. This is it.
Yeah. Defense
steps up, gets that stop. And it always worries me when, so on the first down drive, the first down play, they lose 2 yards. Timeout. LaFleur, timeout. You're like, okay, this is it. He's going all in on this drive. You have to get in the stop. Calls timeout. Because now you burned one, right? So now if they get it a first down and you're starting that progress all over, you lost it. Now you're down that one timeout. The fact that it worked to perfection of you get that loss, timeout, stop, timeout, stop, timeout, field goal was perfect.
I mean, the Packers got the ball back with 1:44.
Right.
That's ideal 2-minute drive time.
Did you think that was what was going to happen though after that first down catch?
No, I was like, they're going to run this. I thought they were going to get the ball back with maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds left. I was watching it thinking, do they just let them score? Right. I mean, they're going to have to, you know what I mean? Do they just let them score? And then at least there's enough time to at least try to drive the ball. I mean, thank goodness I'm not in charge because, it worked out perfectly for the Packers.
It's just crazy how that all came together because I'm not a stats man, but I feel like the stats were saying that's not how that was going to go.
Yeah.
If I was a Texans fan, I would be so pissed knowing that my team was in that situation, and then that's how it played out.
Yeah.
Not
Well, let's
obviously
just.
the loss, but I'm saying giving the ball back with that much time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You were talking about that 3rd and 10. Yeah. 11-yard pass, 2:42 left, 1st and 10. At the 2-minute warning on the GB12. And yeah, Joe Mixon -2 yards. Edrin Cooper,
Mhm.
Kingsley Enagbari eats him up. Minute 56 left. Timeout by Green Bay. And then the next play, Mixon left guard, -3 yards. Edrin Cooper and Kenny Clark. Timeout by Green Bay, minute 52. 3rd and 15. Shotgun. Stroud pass. Incomplete short to Tank Dell. Here's my question. Just run the ball, Houston. Why are you throwing, even if it's 3rd and 15? What did you think was going to happen?
Because they know, and I get that, because in their mind they're thinking, what's the difference between giving them a minute, 20, or making them burn their last timeout to keep it at minute 40, or if we get 15 and a half yards, this game's
over.
done.
Yeah, potentially. I don't know. I mean, hindsight being, I don't know.
That's
forcing the Packers
aggressive
to burn their final timeout. They only had one timeout going into that drive. So I mean, after that, right? They burned the first two. But you get my point.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, they get paid a lot of money to do whatever they want to do.
I'm glad they did it.
Could not believe that there was. I could not believe there was only from the 2-minute drive where they had 1st and 10. They only ate up 16 seconds off the clock. And that's the nice thing about Jordan Love. I got to be honest, man. Minute 44, I went, they can go win this. Or they're sure as hell going to try to go win this, you know? That drive was absolutely incredible. You know?
And let's talk for a second about Jordan Love in that situation. Because you said, yeah, they can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, yeah, absolutely they can. But I also just watched a whole game of him forcing throws, making bad decisions, gunslinging it, which has definitely caught on. I mean, even LaFleur in a presser said, we're going to work on getting him more opportunities so that you talking heads stop making the Brett Favre comparisons.
Yeah, so stop it, Josh.
Yeah. No. Don't tell me how to fan LaFleur.
Wow.
But
for the record, Matt, I'll listen to you.
Okay. Oh, what a put. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Matt doesn't care. Matt, if you care, you go ahead, you like, subscribe, you comment below, okay? Like to see you, Matt.
Sure, he cares. That's why he's on the sidelines pumping up the crowd.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, he's got that move down pat.
Yeah.
But I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous that he was going to go out there and make a mistake, force a throw, end the game. He did.
I mean, here's what I'll say. Short of those 2 interceptions, one was bad luck. I mean, he shouldn't have thrown that ball, but it's not like it was double coverage. That cornerback cut the route and was driving on it. Bad, unlucky bounce, whatever. It's a bad throw. I'm not saying that isn't his fault. The second interception was really bad. The ball he threw to Christian Watson. There's no two ways about it. The rest of the game, though, Jordan Love played pretty well. I mean, he threw 2 interceptions and he still finished with what? 24 for 33 for 220 yards. And he still had a passer rating of 95.5. I mean, CJ Stroud didn't break 60. So,
yeah. Well, that was because of our defense. So
right. Which we should be talking about the defense.
Well, we'll get there. We have time. All I'm saying is, and this is because I just spent a lot of my life watching Aaron Rodgers. Okay. It's going to take some time as a fan for me to get used to gunslinging again. And honestly, I don't want that. Okay. I don't want to go back to that. I liked the Aaron Rodgers, let's be smart about this, make great throws mentality. I'm not saying that Jordan Love doesn't have that either, right? He's an in-between. He does both. But God, it's so hard watching that happen to where I've literally stopped myself and said, this is what other teams have gone through forever. Like, this is normal quarterback play. This isn't Aaron Rodgers. This isn't Jordan Love being a bad quarterback. This is just the difference between what Aaron Rodgers did for all those years and a normal good quarterback.
And without exaggeration, think there's at least 10 NFL teams who would take what we would consider gunslinging, bad decision-making Jordan Love right now over their quarterback. You know what I mean? That is how privileged we are as Packers fans.
Oh yeah.
He's in his second year. I get it. I don't think it's fully I'm going to throw the ball and I don't care about I don't think it's like a protection issue. I don't think Brett Favre did it. My point being I think he has a lot to clean up just from the nature of playing the game more. He stepped in and started playing so well so quickly that second half of last season, I think we have to remember it's technically his sophomore season starting in the NFL. So, I hope that LaFleur means it when he says that some of this stuff they can scheme him open or like scheme guys more open so there's less opportunities for those mistakes. I'm curious what that actually looks like because I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't see receivers as wide open as the Packers players are. So I don't really know how LaFleur fixes that unless that's just him protecting his guy, which also is the job of a head coach, especially after a win. So, we'll see. He was top 10 in turnover worthy plays. And by top 10, I mean, he did not put the ball in this much danger last season. So I don't know if it's confidence, swagger, mechanics, maybe his knee is still, but whatever it is, it's definitely, they won the game. So I definitely don't want to see multi-interception games. I think everybody understood that at best case scenario, we were still going to see more interceptions throughout an entire NFL season with whatever quarterback we were going to get. Because you said you wanted to be more like Rodgers. Well, everybody would play like Rodgers if they were able to, Right. So
that's what makes them unique. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you did talk about, and yes, we were going to get to the defense, but
we should have started with them. This is the one episode.
It's too late. We started at this point.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the special teams, which boy, oh boy, this is just like we're never going to figure this out at any point. Reed, Nixon, awful, more awful. Okay. First, you just catch the ball, right? Just catch the ball, and then just fair catch everything. Can we just fair catch everything on a punt?
Yeah,
I don't. Again,
it's tough. Guy. I know it's tough. I would say yes, but the other like wrinkle to this is that because the kickoff has basically been neutered by not having a severe enough touchback penalty. Punts are the only opportunity for your return guys to potentially make plays with the ball. I
don't think that's true at all. Packers started the game with bringing the ball from like the 3 to like the 40.
Yeah.
It was a huge return. There's opportunities. I'm saying it seems like on punts specifically, it has been way more negative for this Packers team than it is positive. There has been one big break off a punt that I can remember this season where someone's broken one. I'm not saying for a touchdown. I'm saying for even a huge gain.
Yeah.
It's been like maybe 10 yards. That's not worth giving them a 50-yard gain because you muffed a punt.
Yeah.
And my God, it's ugly and awful. And the Texans did everything in their power to capitalize on that stuff today.
Yeah. I mean, 3 turnovers and we still win the game. It's pretty. Yeah. I mean, that punt snafu was terrible. To just get driven into the ball, you're not even the one trying to catch it. It's just bad. It's just bad. Good news is that they only scored 3 points off that.
Yeah, because of the defense.
Okay, that's right.
We can get there.
That's right.
There.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Give the defense their flowers.
Took 15 minutes almost. I mean the defense. I don't know what more can be said. They held Stroud 10 for 21 for 86 total yards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible stuff. We got 4 sacks today, 2 from Eric Wilson up the middle on some really interesting blitzes, delays, stunts. I don't know, man. What an incredible the Xavier McKinney sack, cornerback, lined up on the line, sending 6. It's absolutely beautiful. Gary finally got one. So
all over the place. Wasn't one specific person. And same thing. There was nothing flashy, right? No sack fumbles, no pick sixes. It was just constant. It was consistency. And with those turnovers, it means that the defense was spending more time than I would have liked on the field. And they still were finding ways to stop this Texans team, who has been an incredible football team. The only loss they had before the Packers was to the Vikings this year.
Yeah, where they got the doors absolutely blown off them, by the way.
Correct. But
yeah,
so I was very, very happy with the way that this defense played.
Yeah, I will say this real quick to counter your point, all things considered. The Texans won the time of possession by, I think, a minute and a half. It was 31-17 for the Texans, 28-43. Yeah.
Did it not feel like way more like no, I understand. I believe that with the because the Packers would have the ball, they'd be doing okay, and then they'd mess something up.
Yeah.
So they were still in the field for a little bit. They just wouldn't come away with points.
Yeah. I mean, the defense did everything they needed to. You were talking about that late third down throw for a first down. Do you know that was the first converted third down for a thrown third down that they converted all game? It took until the fourth quarter.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So absolutely nails on third down in terms of passing. So
sexy.
Yeah. I mean, this was like the first game where we wanted to see some of that aggressive athlete play call, right? You know, every third down, the Packers showed at least 6 potential blitzers or rushers, I guess, some blitzes. Didn't always blitz 6, but really creative, really kind of forced the Texans to reconsider their protections. They were able to really kind of manipulate those protections and exploit them. I think that's why we saw a lot of pretty free hits on Stroud. I mean, the 2 Wilson sacks could not have been more gimmies. And I just think it's because the line had the Texans line had no idea what to do with what was being shown, how it was coming at them. And this is like the stuff that you were really excited to see Hafley play, you know? So I thought that was great. I mean, I can just run through some stats. The defense all around was great. It's pretty simple. You don't win games typically when you have a turnover differential of 3. I think like there was some stat I saw floating around on the internet that you cannot, like the win percentage is like hilariously low, like sub 10% when you turn over the ball that much. So the fact that we were even able to stay in it has been incredible. And not only that, you know, the Texans are not a top 10 offense right now. They're not as good as everybody claims they are. CJ Stroud is a very talented quarterback. And I think that's his performance last year is kind of coloring people's perception of what this team is doing. But Bobby Slowick is not some offensive play call genius. You know, I think they're all getting a lot of credit off the back of what they did last year and how terrible they thought they were going to be last year and how bad they weren't. You know, they came into the playoffs kind of like the Packers, announced they were here. So I think they're definitely getting the benefit of the doubt of where they were at. But to hold the Texas offense to only 3.4 yards per play is preposterous.
Yeah.
It's incredible because I understand that Nico Collins didn't play, but Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs are not nobody. Joe Mixon is a starting running back in this league. They have Dalton Schultz, right? Yeah, Schultz.
Yeah. And
they have weapons.
Well, and Mixon was having a pretty good day.
Yeah.
You know, in the first half, at least.
Yeah. I mean, he gashed us for 3 or 4 pretty big plays, but all told, 32 carries for 142 yards. We kept their total offense to under 200. So yeah, you know, I think this is interesting that Joe Mixon averaged more running than yards, like pass attempts by CJ Stroud, which just means they were not willing to challenge this Packers.
Yeah, and Jair. I mean, the broadcast team focused on this Stephon Diggs, Jair Alexander feud a bunch throughout the game. And Jair was chippy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how do we get him in this mode every game? Because I remember I was at the game against the Vikings when he was up against Jefferson and the chippiness was there. And Jefferson had like 1 catch for 7 yards. That was it the whole game. And just Jair was all over him. He's saying the same crap to Stephon Diggs. Diggs had what? I don't even know what his line was. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. Jair kept him out. And then there are weeks where I see Jair just get burned. And I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy definitely, like, if you can get a chip on his shoulder, like, look out. He finds
Yeah.
something.
Well, Diggs used to play in Minnesota. So Jair saw him twice that year before.
Oh,
and
no,
that's
I
where
know.
it
I'm just
started.
saying,
There,
like,
yeah. There's that chippiness there. You know, the Justin Jefferson one, the one you saw, was in response to Justin Jefferson absolutely taking his lunch money in week 1 of that season, too. So, it's
right.
you
But
gotta
he wasn't reacting the same.
right.
That's my point. It's like when
No, I
someone
know.
goes after him, like maybe that's what we got to do. We just got to find a way to have the number 1 receiver on every team we're facing.
Mhm.
Just like talk about his mom or something. Like really just like get under his skin
Yeah.
leading up to that game, because then he's just going to shut you down.
Yeah. I mean, Diggs only had 5 catches for 23 yards. I mean, that's a good day when Dalton Schultz, he had 1 reception and it was for 28 yards. That was the longest pass attempt by anybody. So it was great. Really, really good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. Jair is still not where he was, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. And I don't know if it's injuries or, he's got an attitude that sometimes makes me wonder, does he believe in himself a little too much? But today is a great example. Like you said, when he is all in and committed, he is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. So, I liked Xavier McKinney after the game, kind of talking about that Stephon Diggs stuff. He said, like, I come out and play with 2-3 every day. He's my guy. If you got a problem with him, you got a problem with me. You got a problem with all of us. And they were just kind of talking about, the day at large. And I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, like, yeah, what do you expect the secondary to do when he's throwing checkdowns all game? But ultimately, we kind of like have to take that as a compliment, So
Right.
The league's on notice. The secondary is good. I think. I mean, my Evan Williams, he played every snap in the game. I'm pretty sure, if I was reading those stats correctly,
I think
played.
right.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Is this defense? Can this be? Maybe not even, obviously not to this level, but can it be this consistent play? Do you feel confident we can start seeing this? There's no more learning curve and rust and whatever.
Yeah. I think so. Yes. I think they can, because I think what you're seeing now, and unfortunately Quay Walker went out injured in the first quarter. So you were forced to see, unfortunately, in the sense that you're forced to say what you want about Quay Walker. He is one of our best linebackers. So you need to see him out there. What his injury did do was force Edgerrin Cooper to play 40 plus snaps. And I think what you're seeing is that what he lacks in experience or maybe game knowledge, his athleticism, it just it covers up so many mistakes. And I think that's why it can be consistent. It's because you're starting to see Cooper have a way larger game plan. You're seeing found gold in Evan Williams as a mid-round pick. You're seeing Bullard in the slot, a place where he can really excel, So I just think the things that this defense desperately needed from last year to this year was athleticism at key positions, the linebackers and the safeties. And I think they have addressed that. I think if we can get Devontae Wyatt back soon, I think you'll see the front normalize. But like I said, part of Halfley kind of getting in his bag a little bit. You see the press conferences where he's saying, we're ramping up. We're still not doing everything we want to do as a defense. It's like, great. The personnel's there. The scheme is kind of getting there. Let's marry that together. Because this is not hyperbole. If the defense can play like this more consistently or around this more consistently, this is a Super Bowl caliber defense. I don't know if there's a better defense in the NFC than the Green Bay Packers when they're playing like this. So,
wow. No, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would entertain arguments about the Vikings. I would say if certain individuals weren't injured on the 49ers, maybe I could entertain it. But I just they're so good. And we don't even need to fully launch into that conversation. I just think that this team, everybody thought the offense was good enough to be a Super Bowl contender, and the defense is finally saying, like, announcing that, they can carry games like this. It's no small feat to do what the Packers defense did against a team like this. So I just think it's great. I think it's really great.
John, we're doing a new segment on the show
right. That's right.
called John's Super Sportsy Sports Breakdown.
That's right.
Because I am an emotional fan of sports, and John loves breaking down the X's and O's and blah, 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 and all that other stuff. And I know there are a lot of you out there that think and watch sports the same way. And so every week, John's going to have a super sportsy sportsperson breakdown.
Yeah, I think it's
here we go.
Yeah. I've been shouting numbers at you, kind of explaining what we saw today in the game. But yeah, John's super sportsy sports breakdown is probably going to be a stat that'll highlight kind of just like an underlying theme that I want to kind of like drive home per episode. And this one is, in the last 5 games, the Packers have only allowed 22 points in the second half. Do you want to hear what those second half totals are?
Wait a minute. 22 total points.
Total points.
Across
5
what
games.
Would be 5
NFL football games.
Yes. 5 halves of football.
That's correct.
My brain's not doing the math.
In week 3,
yeah,
they allowed 7 points in the second half. In week 4, that would have been against the Titans. In week 4, against the Rams or the Vikings, they allowed 3 points in the second half. Week 5, against the Rams, 6 points. Week 6, 3 points. And today, 3 points. That is, we allowed 1 touchdown in the last 5 games in the second half. More specifically.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, that feels good.
What feels really good it's good. What feels really good.
It feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What feels really good about that is adjustments. I think a huge knock on Joe Barry was that we played soft. We did not change our game plans. Teams were able to exploit us. Former head coach Robert Saleh said in that Jets game a few years back that if you punch the Packers in the mouth, they're not really willing to like fight back. And I always contested that. I don't know if that was the point. I think really there was not enough adjustments being made. They were like, this is our game plan. We're going to stick to it. And I think whether it's a ton of adjustments or just kind of believing in the guys and kind of willing to be more aggressive or opportunistic, Hafley's showing that this defense can consistently produce. So that's my super sportsy sports breakdown. And that's the thing that
I love that.
Yeah. It's a good one.
22 points.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I also feel like I love that it's in the second half, right? Instead of it being a first half, because we've seen a lot of that in years past of the Packers being that type of team. And then the stress of watching this Packers team give away the game or allowing it to be way too close. And then it's a stress-inducing ball of awfulness gone down to the last 2 minutes of each game going, oh, come on. Why play aggressive? Why are all of a sudden we're so soft for This is way better. I like this. Keep this.
Great.
Keep doing this. Also, I want to talk about when we're talking about things I'm a fan of. I want to talk about the Vikings getting their first L today.
Oh, yeah.
The Lions. No, I mean, it was against the Lions, right? So the Lions are now in first, right? Because they are now 5-1 with the Vikings, but they have the tiebreaker.
That is correct.
But they give the Vikings their first loss in Minnesota. Both of those teams are now 5-1. Packers are 1 game back all of a sudden of first place.
Yep.
I love it. Good.
Yeah.
Knock them down. I'm kind of hoping that now that the Vikings have lost once, now they can continue.
Yeah.
And then, by the halfway mark, they're 5-3.
Yeah. The Vikings jumped out to a 10-0 lead. And I was thinking, oh man, are the Vikings for real?
Yep.
And I was thinking, damn it.
I know.
They are for real. But then all of a sudden I checked the halftime score and it was 21-10 and I said, okay. And then I found out that the Lions also won on like a last second field goal. And I was like, man, the NFC North is for real. It is really, really for real.
Yes.
And that's a iron sharpens iron type of thing. I think, whatever the seedings shake out to be, as long as like I said, I think there could be two, maybe all three wild card teams in the NFC come from the NFC North. I think the Bears are going to fall off a little bit. I think a lot of this point differential is off the back of the fact that there has not been a lot of inter division play. We played the Vikings played the Lions. There's been 2 games in the first 7 weeks that have been NFC North versus NFC North. So we are going to see some cannibalization of those point differentials, and also just kind of, the records are going to start shaking out a little bit because we're going to have to start playing each other. So I'm interested to see what it is, but I'm definitely glad they're not 6-0. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
3 episodes I said, hey, they lose a game against the Lions. All of a sudden, maybe we're only 1 game back. And that's exactly where we're sitting. So, we're in striking distance. That's all you can do. I'm not sure where you had the Packers at this point before the season started, but the Texans were always kind of like okay, this is going to be a game where we'll find out if we're for real. We'll see what the record is looking like after 7 weeks after playing that. I'm starting it off by saying, I thought the Packers were going to be 5-2. I thought we were going to potentially lose the game to an Eagles because the Packers notoriously start slow to start the season. And I thought that we were going to lose this game. I just thought it was going to be a tough game. The Packers traditionally have really kind of won the home split against the Vikings. That's just how it's been for the last several years. So, but I'm feeling good at 5-2. I wish we wouldn't have lost in a game,
especially
to
with this team's already
division
gone
opponent. Yeah,
in 7 games.
Yeah,
you're thinking about, we had Malik Willis in for 2 games. We won those games.
Yeah,
but that was 2 more games where this team, with its primary players, were not gelling together. Right, there was still rust to. It was a slower start. Now we're starting to see a little bit more comfortability, and you're hoping that as things go along, we're going to get there. I'm very happy with 5-2, considering what this team's already gone through and who they've had to play. I mean, if you look at the Bears schedule and who they've played so far, they're playing bottom of the barrel teams.
Yeah, it's bad. It's been really bad. So,
I mean, they beat the Jaguars, they beat the Panthers, they beat the Rams, they lost to the Colts, they lost to the Texans, they beat the Titans. That's how they got to where they are.
Yeah, they feasted on the Titans and the Jaguars, and I'm supposed to be impressed.
Right.
So, but I say that we got to go play the Jaguars.
That's right.
So
the Jaguars, who got a win today
against one of the worst teams in football.
True. They played the Patriots. They won 32-16.
Yeah, that was their back-to-back game in London. The London Jaguars.
Yes.
Jeez,
not a good.
I mean, go figure. Go figure. They beat up on the Patriots. They've been in London for 2 weeks. You want to talk about the overseas stuff is so weird to me, man. They're just like, yeah, just stay over there, and we'll just keep sending you jet lag teams to play.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I mean, money. It's because money,
John. And also because the Jaguars can't sell out their own, so they'll happily get rid of their home games for a little bit of that profit sharing for those London games. I mean, it makes perfect sense
because money. Speaking of money, let's talk about the jerseys and the helmets. The whiteout.
Oh,
game today.
I kind of forgot. It's so weird seeing a whiteout.
I forgot until it was the start of the game, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right, whiteout."
I mean, I forgot to have a feeling about it until you just brought it up. That's how much they don't care. A whiteout in the middle of at a noon game is so weird, and it was 75 degrees out, so it's just so antithetical to what a whiteout is, the specialty jersey stuff. And I'm not one of those hoity-toity people who are the Packers shouldn't do alternates because.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. If you were one of those hoity-toity people,
because do you like the whiteouts? Were you excited about them?
I was very indifferent. This is a really hard point for me. Not because I'm someone that goes, tradition says blah blah blah. The Green Bay Packers are iconic, blah blah. Because I think about that with the Yankees, and I'm like, I hate that that's the Yankees mentality, and so I kind of look at it I can't be the same way for the Packers. So I'm absolutely fine with the Packers getting with the times and doing it. I just don't know that I loved it. Like looking at it, I
Yeah.
just don't. It was okay. It was good, I guess. It wasn't something to where I was like, oh, yes. Like when they did the 50s throwbacks and
Mhm.
they had the helmets with like no logo on it. It was just like the yellow helmet, and then you had the special jerseys.
Mhm.
That I loved. I was like, oh, that's a good look. That's a sharp look. I like that.
Yeah.
The white
Yeah.
on white, it's
Yeah. The
okay.
jersey,
It's okay.
I think the jersey just looked like
A road
the
jersey.
away jersey. Yeah, it looked like the away
Yeah,
jersey.
yeah.
Like, I almost wish they would have got rid of the yellow or the green and
Yes,
just, like, really leaned into just, like, one specific color pop,
yes.
have that, like, one specific color, but, I mean, dude, the discourse when it got, like, leaked because of Madden, the people were, like, losing their mind, and I was like, "Who cares?"
Yeah.
Ultimately, like, it's just not that important to me either way, so
Yeah, I mean, I just have opinions on how I think it looks, and I felt
yeah.
like it looked meh. It looked okay.
Yeah.
I was very indifferent
Yeah.
on it. I'm not upset that it happened. I'm more okay that it happened because they won.
Mhm.
That's how I fan. If they would have lost today, I would have been like, it's because they had to wear the damn white helmets.
Yeah.
Never again.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They won.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
I'm
know if
all
I
for it.
ever need to see this again, but, it is
Well,
what it is.
I don't know. I mean, now they had an opportunity to sell the jerseys and the helmets and whatever. Next, it'll be a green helmet. It'll be something different
Yeah.
for the next time. So
Yeah.
don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, call me when there's a green out.
Might happen.
It could happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as Nike doesn't do what they do to the NBA and force each team to come up with like 4 different jerseys, like 4 rotating jerseys, like, right, the city edition has to be new every single year. It's just like some of these are getting
Yeah.
disgustingly phoned in. Like
Yeah.
the Heat jersey last year that looked just like a serial killer ransom note. It's just like it's a Heat culture. It's just like, what
Because
did they
money.
let me design it?
Yeah.
Looks like done on MS Paint.
Yeah. I was just gonna say Microsoft Paint. That's
Yeah,
exactly right.
jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a
Uh,
fan of that.
I was just gonna say, John, sounds like you're not a fan
I'm not a
of that
fan
many jerseys.
of that many jerseys for the NBA. I'll say that much.
You know what I'm not a fan of, John? I'm
No,
not a
Josh.
fan of 58 minutes of that Packers game today. I'm watching this and I'm just like stressed out. So much. I hated the lack of converting opportunities and then just tossing away just boneheaded plays. And the fact that we were still in it. Obviously, at the end of the day, I'm happy that the Packers won.
Yeah.
But the stress level of watching that game, seeing all of the mistakes, and then seeing the score. Like
Yeah.
if you didn't really break down, if you had the game on and you were doing other things but you're still kind of paying attention, it you feel like you need a cigarette and a nap at the end of the game. Like you just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, okay, they won, but Jesus was that torture.
Yeah.
That was this game for me. I was not a fan.
Yeah. I'm not yeah. I mean, I think I spent most of the episode saying about how I think it was better than how it felt when you really like dive into everything. But it's tough watching your quarterback throw 2 interceptions.
It was more
Eh,
than that though. It was
I
more than
know.
just a pick.
It's tough watching Rasheed Walker just get his lunch money absolutely taken from him by Will Anderson. I mean, that can't be understated enough. Rasheed Walker, I mean, listen, the Texans probably have the best edge rushing duo in the entire NFL between him and uh who's the guy who came from the Vikings? I forget what his name is, but
Hunter?
yeah, Daniil
Danielle
Hunter.
Hunter?
Yeah.
Oh, suck
They're
it, people. Oh, Justin knows sports.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Point being, it just didn't feel good because it's like we hang our hat on pass pro, we hang our hat on elite quarterback play, and I will still
Mhm.
maintain that Jordan Love had a lot of elite passes that game, but I will say it most of these games they've been shooting themselves in the foot in very specific ways, so it did feel very bad to watch them find different ways to shoot themselves in the other foot. It's like they've been shooting themselves in the left foot for so many
Well
weeks. They're
said.
like,
Well
we
said.
gotta, we
Yeah.
gotta, we gotta like give the right foot a spin. So yeah,
And it wasn't even the fact that I wasn't like at the end of the day, they won. Like I said, they won. That's great. Obviously, that's all that matters in the end. But getting there was more painful than I wanted it to be. I'm not saying that I expected them to go up against the Texans and win 44-10. Okay. I'm saying
Right.
I expected the game to be a little bit more. Here's the best of what we got. Here's the best of what you got. Two great teams, two great records going at it. Bing, bang, boom. It wasn't that. It
No.
was a torturing game to watch. I was not a fan.
The way the defense played, we should have won 35-7, 35-10. You know, 16 of their 22 points were off of turnovers. So I do hear you on that. It was not I wouldn't call it an ugly game, but it definitely, like you said, it was not satisfying. You know what I'm not a fan of, Josh?
What are you not a fan of?
I'm not a fan of all of these reports that we're looking to trade Marjon Beauchamp to potentially sign TA to a roster spot.
Oh, we're talking Milwaukee Bucks right now. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah,
okay.
I'm not a fan of it.
I heard this, and I don't know how to feel, John, because on one hand, I'm like, well, if Giannis wants it, I mean, give my boy what he wants. On the other hand, I'm like, dude's not even going to play.
Yeah.
He's injured. He can't play.
The biggest thing I'm not a fan of is if TA was healthy and there was like concerns that like Giannis would leave because they just didn't sign TA to a new contract, I'd be like, sign him as the day is long. I don't mind. But he is not playing this season, no matter what. No other team is going to sign him. He's allowed to travel with the team because of the family designation. It's the Bucks locker room. Are you telling me they can't let people in? Like, he doesn't need special credentials. He just needs permission. Right. So why would you ever sign
who
this
has
guy?
The permission? The Bucks. It's not an NBA rule.
Right. Exactly.
Let him in.
And then, you know, there's like talks of like PJ Tucker might be on a buyout. And obviously the Bucks were like slated as potential favorites. I'm not saying that's who we should go for, but then there's conversation about like Landry Shamet got waived. He dislocated his right shoulder. I just mean there's a lot of talented players sitting on the buyout market who we could get on a vet min right now who could actually play NBA minutes. So I'm not a fan of the idea that the Bucks are going to do this. And I'm even more so not a fan of this like lazy reporting because it's all seemed there's no sources. It's just a lot of like, oh, you know, it's just like lowest common denominator fandom. Like they're like, oh, they're trying to create a space they're trying to open up a roster space. That's why they're moving Marjon. Separate to the fact that Marjon is not as good as I don't know. I don't want to fully dive into.
He hasn't had as many opportunities in Milwaukee as a lot of people think he should have. And out of the opportunities he's had, he hasn't made enough of them. So it might just be that this isn't the right place for him. But having it be that the reason why they're doing that is to give a spot to Thanasis is the problem. Also, that being said, you could take 80% of the Bucks bench and get rid of him, and I don't think it would change his team at all. Okay, the bench in the NBA is not 3 guys. Okay, there are spots, and there are a lot of guys on that bench that I'm going, none of these guys are getting minutes that are going to make an actual meaningful difference in playoff time. So I don't care if it's Thanasis or if it's Beauchamp or if it's Johnson or Jackson or Stevenson or Brown or whoever the hell. None of these guys are doing anything worth a damn. So
some of those guys aren't NBA players on the Milwaukee Bucks, just for the record.
Yeah, whatever. You're missing my point.
Your point is, especially in the playoffs, you're talking about an 8 to maybe 9 person rotation.
NBA. That's what matters.
Yeah. So you're talking about the starting 5, Bobby, Taurean Prince, and DeLon Wright. That's your 8 that you really want to be seeing. AJ Green, if you're nasty, if you need some scoring off the bench. But you're not, it's like if you're seeing 10, 11 guys, it means something's not working in your game plan and you're trying to either ignite a spark under your team or you don't have the answers to compete. And that's just not where this Bucks team's going to be at. So
that's always been my problem with this argument against Thanasis. Stop acting like these bench spots are these sacred areas where we have these guys that are going to get a ton of minutes. That's not how the NBA works. I'll gladly give, a bench spot to a guy that's going to help Giannis over some guy that's going to get to play 12 minutes all year.
Yeah. I mean, if you're telling me that we could trade Marjan out and sign somebody on a vet min who might challenge play time for Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton. This is the stuff I'm interested in. I want the actual bench players who are going to see meaningful minutes in the playoffs be challenged by more talent. So that's what I'm not a fan of. I just think like it doesn't make sense to even free up a spot for TA. And if they're really going to sign an injured player, what?
Right.
I'm so confused by that. So,
John, I'm not a fan of?
What are you not a fan of?
I'm not a fan of what's happening in Major League Baseball right now. The Yankees have punched their ticket to the World Series. How did they do it? How did a team like the Yankees ever find a way to go to the World Series? With that roster and that payroll, I don't know how they got it done. But
grit.
they did.
It's grit. It's tenacity. It's perseverance.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Are you feeling okay, Josh?
No, I'm a little under the weather. And then also, it's like, okay, well, maybe I can cheer for an NL team, right? Beat the Yankees. Who do we got? Oh, we have the Mets, who now I hate forever, and the Dodgers, who I always hated. Cool. So no matter what, I'm going to hate this World Series. It's just how bad am I going to hate it? Am I going to hate it because it's Yankees Dodgers and it's like national media's wet dream? Or am I going to hate it because it's the Mets and now this streak of every team that eliminates the Brewers continues to make it to the World Series?
Well, don't make it sound like Mets-Yankees Subway Series also isn't the national media's wet dream. Also.
Yeah. I mean,
what I mean?
Way, the national media is like, oh,
they're wet. Yeah,
right.
They're going to be so good. Yeah.
Well, I fucking hate it.
I do too. I do too. It's bad when I truthfully am like going to be like rooting for the Dodgers, I guess. And the only reason I say that is because Shohei is a generational talent. And I'm just like, well, he should get a ring. He suffered. He suffered through the Angels. He deserves a ring. He got out.
So did Mike Trout. Mike
Trout's still on the Angels.
He's still suffering.
He's a captive prisoner. I'm just saying. Mike Trout is not a generational player. He's elite offensively, but he's not. He's not a generational.
Mike Trout is absolutely a generational player. Mike Trout was like,
I don't know.
Before Ohtani came around, Mike Trout was like the best player in baseball for like 15 years. Either way, Ohtani got paid a crap ton of money. God forbid he'd have to go a whole, career without getting a World Series ring.
Yeah,
it looks like that is going to be the case. The Dodgers are potentially going to end the Brewers' curse of letting the team go. They are currently, as we're recording this, in Game 6, beating the Mets 7-3.
Yeah,
it is the top of the 7th.
Yeah,
9 outs away.
I was at a lovely farmer's market this morning.
Oh, that sounds nice.
And there was a guy in front of me who was a Mets fan. You want to know how I know this? Because he couldn't shut up about it. It was making me so mad. And the woman in front of him was like a Yankees fan. And then they were like,
God, worst farmer's market ever.
I know. This is why Portland needs a Major League Baseball team. So at least I could hear people talk about a Portland baseball team because it was insane. And they were like talking shit on the Dodgers. They're like, yeah, we can't see the Dodgers get in. And I was like, you guys are the evil empires. You know that, right? It's just like
forever.
I don't even listen. Yeah. I don't know Star Wars well enough, but it's like you're the bad guys.
No, they are. That's what everyone's always said. That's what they are. Yeah.
It's like the Death Star talking shit on. I don't know. Like I said, I'm losing the metaphor because I don't like Star Wars enough. But
yeah. Oh, we're working that. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely. I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it either.
I'm not a fan of everything that's happening with Major League Baseball. I'm not a fan of the fact that either way, MLB national pundits get exactly what they want, and they'll be able to put some freaking amazing, little vignettes together talking about this series and, Dodgers, Yankees. How much more American baseball can it get? This is going to be a series for the ages. Blah, blah, blah. Puke. Show me reruns of literally anything.
Yeah.
Watch that over the World Series.
Yeah. You know what I'm not a fan of, Josh?
What are you not a fan of, John?
I'm not a fan of how low the national media is on the Bucks.
Back to the Bucks.
Back to the Bucks. I'm not. I got basketballs on my sleeves.
Yeah, and in your heart.
And in my heart. Yeah, man. Listen. The Bucks got bounced 2 years in a row in the first round.
It's what Milwaukee teams do.
It's not lost on me that they have underperformed in the playoffs, but Giannis Antetokounmpo still is playing NBA basketball.
And he's good at it.
And he's really, really good at it. I just don't like this idea that like, oh, they're like old, so they're just not good anymore. It's just patently false.
They are old, though. They do be old.
They are old. You're not wrong. They also are some of the most talented NBA players to ever play the game. Giannis and Dame are top 75. LeBron
James.
Celtics.
The Celtics are old. Who's new on the Celtics?
Well, I mean, Jason Tatum's pretty young.
But I'm saying, how long?
Jaylen Brown's pretty young.
How long? They've been there like at least 3-4 years, right?
Well, yeah. We're just talking about actual like the age of our players.
Yeah, I'm talking about like you look at an NBA team like an Anthony Edwards, right? Like he is a new shiny toy to play with, and he's doing amazing things. And then you look at like teams like the Celtics. Well, the Celtics still won with those guys. There's no reason why the Bucks couldn't do that with the talent they have. You can't just look at a team and say, well, this team's been trying to do it with these pieces for X amount of years. It hasn't worked, so it's not going to work.
Yeah. And also Dame, it was his first season with the Bucks last year after 100%. Playing in Portland for 11 years. Like, what are we talking about here? I'm just saying, like, I don't care about their age. They're two of some of the best people to ever play basketball in the history of the planet. So go fuck yourselves telling me that they're going to be lucky to be in the top 4. Like, injuries aside, even if Chris Middleton only plays, he said he wants to play 70 plus games, even if he only played 60 plus games. I'm sorry. There was so much shit show that happened last year between Adrian Griffin bringing in Dame with 1 week before the season started. I just don't understand. Well, I do understand it's the national media. They want the Bucks to fail so they can get Giannis into a different market. It's all the NBA's ever wanted is to get Giannis out of Milwaukee. And I don't like to feed into it, but it's like when you look at our roster from top to bottom and you see us get Gary Trent Jr., Taurean Prince, DeLon Wright, legitimately good basketball player. Gary Trent Jr. is a starting caliber shooting guard in a way that Malik Beasley wasn't last year.
Mm-hmm.
Taurean Prince is the versatility on the wing that we just didn't have. And listen, I understand that Taurean Prince is not going to be the reason we win or lose. I'm just saying that we have made our bench better with the additions of Prince and DeLon Wright on vet minimums. We did not have anything to offer except vet mins, and we landed Gary Trent Jr., Taurean Prince, and DeLon Wright. These are very good NBA players. So I'm just not a fan of.
I want to play with Dame and Giannis.
100%. And Doc. I mean, Doc has a huge thing to do with this.
I don't know that I'm 100% in on Doc.
I was in on Doc Rivers as a bit to piss off some people I knew who were really out on Doc Rivers, but I'm like all the way back in. Okay.
I
don't know. We'll see. And you know why we'll see, Josh?
No, tell me, John.
Because the NBA season starts in 4 days for the Milwaukee Bucks.
4 days?
There's
basketball that counts is here?
There's 2 NBA games going on for the Bucks before we see the Packers play another snap of football.
Wow.
So that's why my not a fan segment is so NBA driven, because I'm not going to lie to you, Josh. The Bucks are my second favorite sports team in Wisconsin. I don't dislike the Brewers clearly, but man, I really do love the Bucks. Giannis.
Yeah, I mean,
my man.
Giannis is my favorite forever. So yeah. I went to the Bucks scrimmage today.
That's right, you did.
Scrimmage today.
Yeah, tell me all about that.
Well, so the families were there. All the families were there, and so you got to see Giannis and his little baby running to him, and families hanging out, and that was fun. And they did a little scrimmage, and they picked on the rookies a little bit. They made the rookies like sing songs to the crowd, and they one was Miley Cyrus, "Party in the USA," which. I'm sorry, you're like a human being on earth. Like everyone should know that song.
Yeah.
And they had no idea. Like they didn't know. Like
do
literally they had the lyrics
it?
In front of it. Tyler Smith and AJ
AJ Johnson.
I believe AJ Johnson.
Those are the two rookies.
Was the yes. And so they were the captains of like the scrimmage, even though the scrimmage like was, I mean, they were switching in between. So like the scrimmage didn't really matter. But they did that. They did some half court shots. Brooke Lopez made won someone like $10,000 ticket package. Cool. I don't know, someone else made one. But I really loved what they did with the rookies, how they made them sing. That was funny. And then just seeing like Giannis dunk again. It's just always amazing to see. I'm not going to tell you that, especially in like this environment, that there was anything that was happening. I mean, it was very similar to me of like what I expect happens at like a family night, a Packers family night. You know, it's about just celebrating the start of the season for the fans. And that's what it was.
That's awesome. I think that's great. I think it's really important. You know, it's like in the state of Wisconsin, it's no secret that the Packers are a distant first place in terms of fandom, right? It's a football state through and through. People love the Packers, but this Bucks team is really exciting. I think the Brewers team is young and has a lot, and I want to see, I think there is no shame in trying to drum up the same level of excitement around these exhibition games in the way that obviously family night for the Packers is a big deal. So that's awesome. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, I mean, what are your? We don't have to do a super long primer. We'll obviously start diving into Bucks a lot more once the season starts.
Here's my main concerns for the Bucks this year. I think that every year this Bucks team, I said last year when they got Dame and they got rid of Drew, I said I'm not going to judge this team on what they do this year. They got a new coach. They lost one of their main three. They got a new guy that could be better than him, but there's no chemistry. There's nothing built. And that is not something that's going to happen overnight. So I'm not basing anything on this season. I'm basing it on next season. That was before I knew that Griffin was going to be out and Doc Rivers was going to be in and all these other changes and things that happened. But I'm still going to hold true to where I think this team's going to be way better this year because they had that time to build chemistry. I think that Dame had the ability to get his head right. My main concern is the same concern I'm going to have every year, and that's health.
Yeah.
It seems like ever since 2021, this team just can't stay healthy when they need to.
Yeah.
Whether it's Giannis or another piece, we've learned it can't just be Giannis, and it can't be everyone without Giannis. It's just not. You need all of it to work.
Yep.
And I don't know that that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's my big hope for this year is that we see the offense being to be operated in complement to Giannis. So maybe Giannis doesn't have to do so much. You get the ball in Dame's hand a little bit more. You know what I mean? We set up more traditional offense. I'm excited to see all of these reports that Brooke Lopez apparently doing more in the post, maybe getting Bobby in the dunker spot, just allowing, instead of just watching Giannis with a full head of steam try to Eurostep around 3 basketball players for 82 games, that's how he gets injured, you know? So I'd love to see, hopefully the rest of the team step up. I would love to, I'm really excited about what those minutes look like, what the combinations and the pairing. So I'm just excited. I think Doc, full year off season, I think they're going to do a lot more to try, you know, everybody came out and said, hey, you know, we need this to be just as much Dame Lillard's team as it is Giannis's team. And I think this is the year, like you said, a full off season. And also they got Dame a week before. I know I already said that, but they built a team around the idea that they were going to have Drew Holiday, and then somehow they landed Damian Lillard. So even the players around them. So I think this is the first year where you're seeing a more defensive minded 2 option in Gary Trent Jr. You're seeing a lot more emphasis on backcourt depth and defense. DeLon Wright, you know, is so I don't know. I hear you, and I think my solve for the health, or is what I'm hoping, is that they're just going to find other players to step up and to not just make it Giannis versus the world, even though it will always be Giannis versus the world. But you know what I'm saying. So
correct.
So we'll see.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love it. We'll see. We got a whole season there.
Yeah,
we got almost half of a football season left, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
And we got to get our predictions.
Yeah. Oh,
Hard
let
pivot.
me one last one. It's not that hard of a pivot. We're going to do predictions, but the first prediction I want to hear: do the Bucks
I'm not ready
beat
for Bucks prediction.
their
Okay.
season total over under at 50.5?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's ridiculous. They'll beat that.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think their win total will be?
I'm gonna say they're gonna win 60 games.
60 games. So they win 2 more than they did last year. Yeah.
I have to believe that if I think they're gonna be better this year than they were last year.
That's true. Yeah, I'm gonna say they win 63 games. I think they smash the over.
Okay.
I think the like you were talking about with the bench and talking about like the 15th guy. I think the guys 6 through 9 are more talented this year than they have been in a very long time. Maybe even since they won the championship. So I'm right there with you.
Okay.
Cool.
I like it. Predictions for this coming Sunday. Packers travel to Jacksonville to the now 2-5 Jaguars.
That's right.
Your thoughts? Score prediction to end the episode.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I think the Packers handily beat the Jaguars 34-17.
Ooh.
Honestly, 17 feels too high for the Jaguars, but they're an NFL team, and we don't historically travel super well to Florida. So
True.
I think it's 34-17.
I think that your score is a little high.
Okay.
I'm going to add in a little sprinkle of trap game. I think that the Packers are going to come off of this win against the Texans and feel a little bit like, hey, we got things rolling. We got a nice, easy, juicy opponent here in the Jaguars. This is going to be great. And then it's going to be way closer than it should be. I'm going to have it at 24-16.
Jeez,
Packers.
Louise.
I know.
Okay.
I don't like that it's that close. And I think it is going to be annoyingly closer in a game than it should. There's going to be still more boneheaded mistakes by the Packers. I don't think it's going to be an elite game. But I think that they will come away with a win.
Cool. My Nostradamus, and you don't have to you can't hold me to this because I've done this before. I think we go into half up 24-10.
Oh.
And I think the Packers unfortunately give up a touchdown in the second half, but mostly out of prevent because the game.
And then they miss the extra point, and the Packers don't score in the second half, and then the score is 24-16.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because that's exactly what I said. Okay, well, we'll see. As long as the Packers come away with a win, that's what we care about the most, and that's what they did this week at home against the Texans. God, love that. Even though it was a torturous game to watch, glad that they came away with a big dub. Thank you, defense. Thank you, McManus, for being able to make a field goal. God, do we appreciate you for that. And we appreciate all of you guys for continuing to watch and subscribe and like, comment, and all that good stuff. And also now listen to the show through podcasts, which you can find on Apple and Spotify. If for some reason you don't like seeing our beautiful faces on YouTube, we appreciate you. Go find us and come back because we are not done yet.